I'll tell you what, in Southern Conference circles, my next guest has become the top sports columnist in the South. He's, Paul Feinbaum cannot compete with him. Furman Bisher is rolling over in his grave. And it's all because of a column that he wrote talking to Mike Young, the Wofford head men's basketball coach, and Mike Young praising Lamont Paris down at Chattanooga for recruiting 4-year players and not 2-year players, let's say. Not a lot of transfers, even though the Mocs finished in last place in the Southern Conference. Oh, Steve Forbes in his press conference last night did not like that. And so we're very privileged to have Mark Weidmer on. And I guess the first question I want to ask is, what was your take of the Steve Forbes comments? It was Young who said that, well, Paris is building the right way with the 4-year players. And Forbes just went to town saying, how you build a program is how you build a program. There is no right way. What were your thoughts on Forbes' comments in the postgame after the Buccaneers' victory against Furman last night?
Well, Marky, first, thanks for having me on. And second, until I heard from you today, I didn't know anything about this. And I'm a huge fan of Steve Forbes, and if Ole Miss is smart, they'll go after Steve Forbes. But you have to consider too the context from which. First of all, when I asked Mike about this was a column strictly on Lamont. It had nothing to do with ETSU or the league in general. And I just was trying to get some nice quotes from him about the job Lamont's done under incredibly difficult circumstances. And if he meant it as a backhanded jab at Forbes, I didn't necessarily take it that way.
Okay, interesting in all this. Of course, the other idea that I could give you is that Forbes might have been using the podium. And by the way, it was the Chattanooga Times Free Press writer Gene Henley who asked the question that brought forth Forbes' comments. But, it is an opportunity then to talk to the media and maybe even improve his stake for an Ole Miss. Look at my grad rate. Don't look at my show cause penalty. This sort of thing. So Forbes using the media maybe for his own advantage. I thought that might be the case. You've been around this game for a long time. Could, in your opinion, Forbes have been saying that in his outburst following the Buccaneers' victory yesterday?
Oh, I'm shocked you would think a coach would try to us to benefit their own career.
My goodness, yeah. You'd think that I'll be modest, huh?
No, I mean, that wouldn't shock me. And in all fairness to Steve Forbes on the show cause penalties, wow. I cannot tell you, as a guy who covered Bruce Pearl every year he was here, we all knew what went on with that, and for them to slam the assistants was really unfair in a lot of respects.
And I understand that. I've had Chris Lowe say similar things and such. Still, you are going to get, I'm sure, some chancellors or presidents that are looking for college basketball coaches. And remember, Forbes signed an extension that basically is going to give him $650,000 a year. So all but the elite programs, all but the major college programs will be shied away with that price tag. It should be mentioned there. There won't be any interviews at New Mexico this offseason, for instance. But, you could see where, just especially in this era of the FBI probe, wait, show cause, nope, can't do it. That's just, apple doesn't fall far from the tree, goodbye. Not even gonna. I could see one or two chancellors, athletic directors, or presidents saying that. Couldn't you, Mark Weidmer?
Oh, sure. There's no question that if you want an excuse why you don't go after a guy with Forbes' record to this point, that's what you point to. That's your out clause. And certainly this whole to make everybody, and they should be, much more careful about who they hire and look much deeper into their past. But from what I know of Shea and Forbes, they kind of fell on the sword for Pearl when they probably shouldn't have. And remember, talking about a barbecue.
Yeah.
We weren't talking about, at this juncture of Pearl's career, an FBI probe.
Well, let me go back to your column here, and it's about Paris. And for those of you who don't know, Mark Weidmer here, Chattanooga Times Free Press, a lot of people, Steve Forbes, taking a quote that Weidmer used from Mike Young about how Lamont Paris was building his basketball program down at Chattanooga with 4-year players, and took that kind of as a backhanded slap at how ETSU has built with a lot of transfers, 10 transfers, 8 of them active this year on the ETSU roster. So Weidmer, in my last minute or so with you, I want to ask, though, do you think that Paris is he still going to have a strict players out of high school rule, or could you see as Chattanooga starts to rebuild maybe a transfer or two coming from a community college or a 4-year program in the future? How do you think Paris will continue to build the Mocs?
Well, I think you always get to a point when, as you begin to be better, and let's say this about Forbes. Forbes is much more comfortable in the junior college environment than Lamont is.
He used to coach there.
Well, exactly. I mean, he understands the JUCO system. He has connections and ties there. And I think he wanted to jumpstart ETSU's program in a way that couldn't be done with high school kids. Lamont is not nearly as comfortable in that environment. He comes from a very conservative program in Wisconsin. He himself was a Division III ball player back in the day, as they like to say. So his background fits better with high school kids, I think. Now, having said that, if he gets to year 4 here and he's short a small forward to be a serious contender, and there's a great JUCO small forward out there who has the background he wants to bring in, I think he dips into the junior college ranks.
He's Mark Weidmer.
He'll do so much.
He's Mark Weidmer, Chattanooga Times Free Press. Back after this. I'm sorry.